AITAH for not wanting to sign something from my wife's employer without speaking to a lawyer. Sorry if this is long. I usually don't post on Reddit, but a friend suggested I do for advice. For a few years, my wife has been working hard to make a go of being a VTuber streamer. She had her own little character, got a bit of a following, and ended up getting another character to stream, as with a talent agency that specializes in that. I'm only vaguely familiar with this. I know there are massive agencies. I don't think hers is a very popular or big agency, although it does have a large following online. So far, it's been going really well. She's been able to make it her full-time job, and seems really happy with everything. I am too, and am immensely proud of her knowing the level of dedication she's put into it. About a month ago, I got a weird email from someone claiming to be with this talent agency. I didn't even notice it at first. It went to my spam box, was worded weirdly, and something seemed off about it, so I didn't pay any mind to it. I figured, was spam because I'm subscribed to my wife everywhere possible and the talent agency. However, I then got another one and another one asking me to respond as soon as I can. The TLDR of the email is they want me to sign a legal agreement that says, A, I won't represent myself as wife's VTuber character or wife's actual legal name, romantic partner in any online or in-person event capacity, and B, in the event we were to split up, I would be forbidden from revealing any information regarding a breakup or divorce to protect her anonymity and identity. I read through the legal agreement, and it appears to have been done up by an actual lawyer and everything. It was frankly dumbfounded. As I mentioned, I'm only vaguely familiar with the world of VTubers and anime streamers, so I understand how the majority of VTubers keep their identities hidden, and that there is an element of purity in this sort of idle stuff that would cause fans to be disillusioned, which honestly seems so stupid. That said, I know some comments on Stream's videos have connected her new character to her old one. She never hid her identity on her old one, but never went out of her way to show it. What I'm trying to say is if someone did a handful of Google searches finding who my wife is, or at least looks like, isn't exactly an impossibility. When I got home from work, I brought it up to my wife. I could tell she knew it was coming and was being avoidant of talking about it. I asked if she had some concern that I was going to go online and just dox her, but she said it was just how this industry works. I remembered a time a couple weeks ago I posted a few photos of us on Twitter, where I have less than 100 followers, and she seemed kind of panicky asking me to take them down because she didn't like how she looked, or how she kept loudly mentioning or randomly interjecting about reading how locking accounts or making them super private was really good for security. She had deleted some of her personal accounts at this time too. Long story short, she just told me to sign it, and that it was more of a formality to make her employment smoother. The thing is, this is a legal agreement. It's been drafted up by, as far as I can tell, a legitimate law office that represents this talent agency. There are other clauses in this agreement that I won't get into, but are frankly as ridiculous as the two I mentioned. I admitted I would be happy to help her if it would make things easier, but I wanted to speak to a lawyer first before signing anything just to be safe. We argued about it a bit, and I think she saw where I was coming from when I asked why I was the only one who had to sign anything. What about friends, family, past employers, teachers, ex-BFs, etc.? She kind of huffed about it but said I could see a lawyer, but to book it fast because she didn't want it to be some big delay. She was quite cold with me for the next few days. For example, I faked sick to stay home one day to make us dinner because her streaming time overlaps with when I'm home, so we haven't had many meals together since she started. I told her it was ready, and she just asked me to put it in the fridge because she had to prep for a collaboration stream. She's also sent me a couple texts as she's streaming, reminding me to be quiet, or suggesting I go hang out with friends or something until she's done. I got a little fed up with the treatment and finally asked if she was being pissy with me because I didn't sign it, and she said, "What do you think?" Yes, obviously. I asked her what she would do if my job legally demanded she put down in writing what her job is asking of me. She said I would sign it. I wouldn't stand in the way of your dreams. I asked if she genuinely thought I was standing in the way of her dreams. That really hurt to hear considering the amount of love and time I've given her towards this. The encouragement. The hours I've spent reassuring her she's talented and does a good job. And frankly, the thousands upon thousands of dollars I've helped her for equipment, commissioning artists, etc. She rolled her eyes and huffed, so I asked again, and she shouted, "If you don't sign it, then yes, because they're already being weird with me and passing me over for certain opportunities. And I know it's because you haven't signed it yet. Have a meeting with a lawyer next week to go over it. But I am getting pretty guilt-tripped by her and her parents for not blindly signing it. Our friend group is split down the middle, but the general consensus is it would just be easier to sign. To make her happy, I don't think it's unreasonable to want to consult a legal professional over a legal document, but maybe I'm not that good of a husband after all." So, AITAH here for wanting to consult with a lawyer over this? Update. 2 months later. I know it wasn't a super popular post, but I logged on and saw quite a few DMs and comments asking for an update. The TLDR is that my wife joined a VTuber agency. Agency asked me to sign a legal document. I wanted to see a lawyer first, but it caused a bit of a rift in relationship. To answer a lot of people, yes, I saw a lawyer. It was an interesting meeting. The lawyer read through the whole thing with a smirk and said, "The only benefit of signing this would be keeping your wife happy. I wouldn't personally sign it, but if you do, and it comes to it, please let me represent you because this is hilarious." She said there's no way it would hold up in a court, especially because if the law firm who represents them decides to sue me for breaching it, they'll have to reveal my wife's identity in court documents that will most likely be public anyway. Instead, she contacted them on my behalf seeking clarification on what happens if any part of the agreement is broken, as it's not stipulated, and if I'm to sign the agreement, what sort of compensation I would receive. I didn't sign it in the end, but have told my wife once the lawyer hears back and they recommend it, I would. As of writing this post, they haven't responded, and frankly, it hasn't seemingly affected my wife's VTubing career. Things with my wife are still pretty rocky. To address a couple comments, she does actually earn quite well off streaming, donations, subs, etc. Slightly less than she was making at her previous job, but enough to still contribute to the household and live comfortably. That said, she won't speak to me about it anymore though. She's fine otherwise, but if I ask her how things are, I'll get a brush off, a fine, or occasionally, "You don't care, you don't have to keep asking." I'm still rooting for her, and she's still growing every time I check her channels or social medias. She's doing streaming events and collaborations with other VTubers. She seems happy with it all, and that's enough for me. I know her last job was soul-crushing, and she's worked really hard. If she wants to be cold with me about it, that's her call. I'm just happy she's doing something she loves, that's it. Boring update, I know, sorry.